And the next day, I was able to get my pills without a problem, but there's tension there, and at the facility that I asked if I could speak to the lady in charge of meds, and I'm pretty sure the receptionist said something, lied to her, because she says I can't talk to you, I don't have time. I was away for a week, and when I'm away, mishaps are going to happen. And she walked away, and I was like, well, she didn't walk away. I was like, can't I just at least talk to you? And she's like, no, I'm too busy. And I looked at her like with this blank, like dumbfoundedness that, what was she talking about? I'm pretty sure the lady lied to her. And, first of all, a mishap didn't happen. The lady was just being deliberately rude and deliberately unhelpful, or I don't know what the proper word for it is, because as I get older, I'm forgetting my vocabulary. But, that was just wrong. I spoke to somebody about it, and they said, they were saying she could have given me a minute of her time just to make sure, so that I wouldn't have to drive all the way out there. And, like I said, I tried to talk to the lady in charge of meds, and she wouldn't even talk to me. And I'm like, what is going on? But, I mean, I'm telling you, I've had a couple of sleepless nights, because I can't live like that. I can't be having to deal with that every time I have to get his pills. It's just, I'm getting too old, and my nerves can't take it. And, they were telling me that she may have to take off again, because it's vacation. They have to use up their vacation before August. And so I hope to God she's used up all her vacation, because I can't deal with that reception. My nerves can't take it. And I've had a couple of sleepless nights thinking about that. I don't know what else to do. I think there's only like one clinic per county, and I think that's the only one for me. So I was just really like a nervous wreck, because I can't take this. He got his pills, and I thank God he got both of his pills. And I thank God that I didn't have to go out there again, because it's a long drive. But you're performing a community service, and people who can't get a job because of mental illness, they depend on you. So if it was a mishap, which it wasn't, it was just a very deliberate rudeness. I honestly think that lady just doesn't like me, because I don't think I've seen her act with anyone else like that. My son asked, she said, don't forget your appointment on the 6th, and then he's like, oh, could you give me a reminder? She says, I already gave your mother a reminder. Why does she have to be that way? Is it because a card costs a penny, and she was why? And she gave it to him. I don't know if maybe she didn't want the lady to hear her, any of the other workers that are over her to hear her. But why does she have to be like that? And so I'm just very, very frustrated. And I mean, my son, we depend on that, because I said his pills are like $1,000, and he can't work. He's trying to go to school. He's trying to make something of his life, and it's going to take him a long time to do that because of his mental disabilities. And if you're going to run a community service, then run it. Don't do it grudgingly. If you're going to do it grudgingly, then don't be there. This is a community service to people who otherwise might kill themselves. I mean, I know a guy, a friend of the family, who lost his job, and he suffered from some mental illnesses himself, and he couldn't get his medications, and 6 months later he killed himself. They're not in their right minds if they can't get their medication. And these people depend on you. They depend on you for help. Because, my son is already an adult. If I could represent him, I can't represent him in court, because he's already an adult. And here, no lawyer wants to take his case. And again, a community service said they would represent him, and they said they would fight to the end, and then they didn't. The lawyer said the same thing. They will fight to the bitter end, and they didn't. They just dropped it on him once he was denied. And it's like, I would fight for him. I would go to court. I would speak on his behalf. I mean, who else would know better than what's going on than the person that sees it happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in front of their eyes? So he needs this. He can't fight for himself. He needs this community service. And thank God, I thank God that so far everywhere I've been, there's been community services that help people with mental illness. Thank God. And he seriously, I mean, he can't work, not the way his mind is. He wants to go to school. He wants to better himself. And then once he gets a degree, then he can start looking for a job. I think if he had to look for a job now without getting a degree, I think he would go into such a deep depression. I think that he wouldn't be able to work. Without the medications, he would be nowhere but a mental institution. Unless he got so anxious that he hit something and get arrested. He wouldn't hurt anybody, but he might hit the wall or something, or a door. And these people like my son, people like the friend of the family, they depend on you. You're a community service. Then act like it. If you don't like being in a community service, then don't work there, And, usually the lady in charge of meds isn't like that with me, but I think that the receptionist said something to her. I mean, she did, because what she was saying had nothing to do with anything that happened the previous year. There were no mishaps. But if there were, that's not acceptable to do that to a person with mental illness. It's not a nonchalant thing that you can just take lightly, So I'm very frustrated with that. I thank God that when that lady just paid for my $2 for my blush and a body wash, it just, I felt better about going the next day. I wasn't as anxious anymore. It's just hard to deal with people like that. And there's nothing you can do, because you have to depend on them, because otherwise your child will wind up in an institution, So it's very frustrating. But I at least thank God that he got his pills, and I won't have to. I have an appointment for his refills. So I just deal with it as less as I want to just deal with it as less as possible. Go to my appointment and get his refills, and then you have to wait for 2 days for his pills to come in, then go down there and pick it up. And so I'm glad I only have to do that once a month, and except on refill, when it's time for the refills, then I have to do it twice in 1 week. But it's just not right. People, thank God that the government and the counties have these services for people who can't work and keep getting denied for social services, for disability. But it's very frustrating when you have no other choice, and you have to put up with that. I mean, this lady one time told me my son's pills weren't there when the lady in charge of the meds said that it'll be there on Wednesday, and I went on Thursday. She said, your pills aren't here. I'm like, oh, she told me they'd be here yesterday. And she does this to me. She throws her hands up in the air, goes in the bag, and then the lady says, here's your pills, and she does stuff like, she'll tell me. I remember 1 week I was so sick out of my mind, and I had to go there. I had the week before, I don't remember for what, and I had to go through I was there for a long time, because when you have to deal with the finance department, and then the psychiatrist department, and meds, you got to deal with different departments sometimes. I already did all of that. I was sick. I come home, and the next week, again, they said, they said the pills will be ready, blah, blah, blah. You have to see all the departments again. Why? I was just there last week. Because you have to do it once a month. Last week was the end of the month. This is the new month. And I'm like dying. I'm so sick. I'm so dying. I'm ready to go down there. And I didn't have to see anybody. And this is the stuff that receptionist does. And I sometimes think, I watched her sometimes. I said, don't think I've seen her act like that with anybody else. And what does she like? I mean, I don't dress nice. I don't have nice clothes. It's got to be my makeup. Maybe she just doesn't like my makeup. I don't know. I've had that happen to me before, where sometimes people don't like me just because I wear makeup. These are people who wouldn't wear makeup, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know. Um, but again, on the bright side, at least he got his meds, and that was the most important thing to me. Is that he got his meds, and I'm still dealing with stuff. When I went to go get my daughter's meds, is done through Walmart. They shorted me 6 pills, and now the insurance, Medicaid won't approve her for the last 6 pills. And they said she has to wait till she runs out of these, and I'm like, what's going to happen is her next appointment is the same exact day she runs out of those pills, and they're not going to give me the 6 pills. They're just going to give me the new prescription. So she's been shorted 6 pills, and what's going to happen is the doctor's appointments don't always fall on the same day. They might fall 5 days later. She'll be shorted those pills, and she can't go 3 days without her pills. So it just continues. I know, and this is silly. I told you I can't sleep at night because I'll just be thinking and thinking. Like I said, I haven't been sleeping that well because I can't stop thinking about all that's been happening. And I had, over the course of 2 years, paid for Cubis. You pay for each level, and it's like $1 a level. And I wasn't doing any updates for a while because my daughter gave me her old iPad, and it doesn't have a lot of memory. But it said, oh, we something about new levels. I said, oh, okay, let me update. Deleted everything. Went on the website, closed down. They sold it to another company, and on Facebook everybody's freaking out because we've paid for 25 levels of this, and they deleted it and only left us 10 levels, and everybody's flipping out. And it's just like one frustration after the other. And but I have to say that also, before I say that, I did go to the Better Business Bureau. I did put in a complaint, and I don't know how much time they give them. I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks to respond. So let's see what happens with that. And I also found out that if you put in a complaint, then you can't put a review. And I didn't know the complaint goes up. I thought the complaint was just between you, the Better Business Bureau, and them. But they can only put up one. They will only put up one, not both. So one is the review site, good and bad reviews, and one is a complaint site. I didn't know that. So let's see what happens with that. But the good news is I did get my money back finally. I guess like my bank had told me, even though they say it takes 5 business days sometimes, they might put it in within, their bank, but it might take their bank another 10 business days. So I even called them up and say, what happened? And they got a little lippy. Well, you're just going to have to wait. I said, oh, so I was like, whatever, that's fine, because I'm just going to file that dispute. And then I even called the store and said, I need to be able to speak to someone at corporate because I still haven't gotten it. And boom, they said to call the next day. That's when the head manager is in the store, and they can tell me what to do. But Saturday morning when I checked, it was there. So that's the good news. At least my son got his pills. I got all my refunds. So that's the good news. And I was blessed by a kind woman, a true Christian woman, who just wanted to pay forward a blessing. And I guess when an opportunity ever arises, I can pay it forward too. It's funny because when I drive, I let people get ahead of me. Other people who otherwise can't get ahead because the cars are just coming and coming and coming. And I always say, let them in front. I mean, I know they can't hear me, but I say, pay it forward, I guess this is how I got paid forward. So, I thank God for the good. I honestly hate fighting. I was watching my video last week, and when I said, no, let's fight, I kind of chuckled. Trust me, I hate it. I hate that I have to fight. I wish that all I've ever wanted since I left New York is just to live my life in peace. And I hate fighting. And it's just been like this past month has just been a constant fight, and with this, that, and the other thing. And I hate that the world has to be that way. It should not be that way. I hate fighting. I feel like I'm getting too old and my nerves just can't take it, you know? I just want a peaceful life, you know? So, you know, I just wanted to add that. But, you know, like I said, thank God my son got his pills. That was the most important thing. I think I'm just going to change pharmacies, you know, because that's unacceptable. My daughter's going to get shorted those pills, and then when the next appointment is not on the same day, maybe a couple days later, I'm going to be screwed. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get those pills before the next appointment. So, you know, but at least, thank God, my son got his pills. I know this is silly, but I got a blush, and you know, I got my refunds, and you know, I'm not gonna fight with IWIN. I just, you know, pray to God that they do the right thing by us. It's like, you know, like I said, pick and choose your battles. It's probably not even a way to get. I already put in I already, you know, wrote on their consumer relations at IWIN, and everybody else is trying to, you know, get back what they paid for. But you know, like I've said it before, you have to pick and choose your battles, and that's definitely not one of them for me. You know, I have a feeling that somehow they're gonna fix it, hopefully. But yeah, but you know, I'm trying to focus on the good. That thank God I got those pills. Thank God I got my son's pills. Thank God I got blessed with a blush. Go to your Dollar Tree. And I got my refunds. So, you know, thank God for all of that. I feel like little by little things are resolving themselves.